Joining us now on set to talk about some other news, AI related. We got Amazon, we got some OpenAI, Microsoft news as well. MacKenzie, Sigalos, MacKenzie. We'll get to the Amazon stuff, get to the OpenAI stuff, because they made some comments about energy as well. But as somebody who covers this stuff every single day, anything you heard that sort of takes us into a new track? Or is it stuff we've heard about NVIDIA's business prospects prior?
I feel like this is the latest example of NVIDIA leaning into this tech conglomerate playbook. Think about some of the investments they've made lately. $100 billion into OpenAI over the next few years. They're investing $5 billion into their rival Intel, but also taking a $500 million stake in a self-driverless car startup. I mean, they're just really expanding the scope of what their business model is. And with NVIDIA, they've now got new rivals in the chip business. Google has their TPU, their in-house silicon. Amazon's trying to build a rival as well.
When I woke up this morning and turned on CNBC and watched Jim and David and others talking on Squawk on the Street, I saw Lisa Su of Advanced Micro Devices, right? And I knew that Jensen was giving a speech today at the NVIDIA Developers Conference or GPU conference in D.C., and I thought, this is not just an AI arms race, it's a PR arms race, it's a money race, right? All these companies, in many ways, are competing for the same investor dollar, I think. Yes or no?
I mean, they're all looking to capture part of that OpenAI halo. You mentioned AMD and NVIDIA and Broadcom. Think about the kind of price surges we've seen in the public markets off the back of a single announcement about a relationship with OpenAI that's forming, whether that's an equity stake or a commitment to build new compute.
Yeah, I mean, we had one with Nokia today. NVIDIA takes a stake in Nokia. We haven't talked about Nokia in years, and the stock is absolutely rocketing higher. At pretty much at the same time this occurred, Sam Altman of OpenAI, I guess he's probably the most powerful man in technology in America, if it's not Jensen Huang, was making comments about building out the power base, something we talked about with Interior Secretary Burgum moments ago. I know you were here. You were sort of monitoring that. What did Sam Altman say?
So we had this live stream, and it was off the back of the news that they've finalized terms of their commercial agreement with Microsoft. But the conversation veered towards his infrastructure ambitions, and he said two very interesting things. So one, they've committed to 33 gigawatts of compute, and the best way to think about that is each gigawatt is what the equivalent of one nuclear reactor that it would take to power it, or 750,000 homes. And what he said is that the industry standard today is $50 billion roughly to build out a gigawatt of compute.
Yes.
He wants to get it down to $20 billion. That is an ambitious
I want a
commitment.
unicorn and a pony. I'm not sure it's going to happen. Sam Altman, to me, and you don't have to comment on this, you know, he's making comments about energy, which are great. He recognizes the demand for energy, which is great. But is anybody pushing back on this and saying, well, is this possible? Because that's not something that's necessarily in his control. All due respect to Sam Altman, he doesn't build nuclear power plants, at least not yet.
He's getting into the business of building chips with Broadcom. They signed a $10 billion deal there. He's diversifying his chip exposure with AMD, with NVIDIA. We'll see if they ultimately decide to sign with AWS. But he's controlling what he can control. And so he's also had this open call to infrastructure providers across North America. 800 bids have come in to offer him a mix of power sources to make this reality.
Did you say ultimately or ultimately? Because I feel like it's Sam It might be Sam ultimately. We're going to do this. We'll see if he can actually now control energy very quickly. OpenAI had a restructuring.
Yes.
It involves Microsoft. I'm not going to pretend to understand what the story is. What's the story?
To me, it's a win for Microsoft. So we finalized terms of both their commercial agreement and then also Microsoft's equity stake. That's 27%, largest single shareholder in the company. Think about the return that Microsoft has. Its stake is worth $135 billion. They invested $13 billion into OpenAI. That's a pretty impressive return over that space of time. They retain a lot of IP rights and that 20% revenue share. So a lot of wins for Microsoft here.